Hi, my name is Christina Cornett and I serve as a member on the iOS safety team for Johnson & Johnson and in the ergonomics lead. The topic of today's training is safe lifting techniques for back safety. After participating in today's training, you will know why back safety is so important. I'll teach you some of the proper lifting techniques and how you can apply them at work, at home, or in the gym. And then finally, we'll review some of the do's and don'ts of safe lifting. But before we get started, I have a quick question for all of you. How many of you think that I can properly lift this bar off the ground without injury? There's 300 pounds loaded on that bar. But before I give you the answer to that question, let's learn about safe lifting. Today's training will be divided into 3 separate sections. The first section we'll learn about some back injury statistics, and then we'll move into the back anatomy and what causes pain when you get those back injuries. Second, we'll move into proper lifting techniques. We'll learn what to do before you ever attempt to lift the load, and then what to do while you're lifting, carrying, and setting the load down. And then we'll wrap the second session up with some alternatives to lifting loads. And then we'll finally wrap up this training with some of the do's and don'ts of safe lifting. Why is back safety so important? We'll review some of these back safety statistics. Back injuries are considered by OSHA to be the nation's #1 workplace problem. And according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, more than 1 million workers every year experience back injuries. And 1/4 of all these injuries, the workers' compensation indemnity claims are because of back injuries. So taking a look at your back. Your back is composed of vertebrae, disc, nerves, and muscles. And your spine serves as the basic function for support, protecting your spinal cord, and providing flexibility to allow you to bend and rotate. Your spinal cord is the main information highway of your entire body. And because your spine is so delicate, you will experience pain whenever you strain, sprain, or injure your back in any way. What causes back pain? Poor posture for one, having poor physical condition and being out of shape, tension and stress, aging, disease, impact, trauma, repetitive trauma, and then incorrect lifting techniques. Let's move into some of those proper lifting techniques. Before you ever lift, there are a couple of things that you can do to help you avoid injury. One of the first things that you want to do is warm up. You want to warm up your back and legs before performing any lifting task. We are all athletes in life, so we need to warm up our bodies so that we can improve our performance and reduce the risk of injury. This is important to prepare your body for the work that it's about to do. So on the screen, I have what's called the low back rotation stretch. You want to stand with your hands on your hips, stabilize the hips and legs, and then gently roll your upper body forward, right, backwards, and left to stretch your lower back. Perform 5 circles slowly, and then gradually expanding the circle each time. And then try to repeat this in the opposite direction. The next stretch that we'll go over is called the hamstring and Achilles stretch. You want to position your body with one leg forward and the toes of that foot raised up. You want to keep your back straight while you bend forward at the waist. You should feel a stretch in the back of your thighs and your knee. Then you want to shift your weight onto your forward leg, bend at the knee, keep the back leg straight and your heel on the floor. Try to hold this stretch for about 20 seconds and then perform this stretch twice on each leg. Let's move into what is called the basic diagonal lifting technique. You want to get as close to the object as possible. Use a wide stance with 1 foot forward and to the side of the object for good balance. Keep your back straight, push your buttocks out, and then use your legs and hips to lower yourself down to the object. And then finally slide the object as close to you as possible and put your hands, same side of the body as the forward foot, on the side of the object furthest from you. Use this basic lifting technique for small objects when you can straddle the load and use a wide stance. You want to put the other hand on the side of the object closest to you. Your hand should be on opposite corners. You want to grasp the object firmly with both hands and prepare to lift by tightening your core muscles. Look forward, upward, and keep a straight and strong back. And then finally lift slowly and follow your head and shoulders. Hold the load close to your body. Lift by extending your legs with your back, and then breathe out as you lift. Let's take a look at carrying the load. While you carry the load, you want to keep your back straight and slightly arched. You want to walk slowly and surely. Use your feet to change directions and never twist your back. Try to avoid leaning over and avoid lifting the load over your head. If you become tired, set the load down and rest for a few moments. So let's take a look at setting the load down. You want to position yourself where you want to set the load, and then you want to squat down. Let your legs do the work, not your back. Remember, do not twist your body while setting the load down and keep your head up. Once you have the load where you want it, release your grip. But never release your grip until you know that the load is secure. You don't want to drop the load on your foot and injure a toe or a bone in your foot. And if someone is helping you, dropping the load unexpectedly can injure the other person. All right, now we'll move into some alternatives to picking up the load yourself. You can use a hand truck or push cart. Remember, it's always easier to push than to pull. Stay close to the load and try not to lean over. You want to keep your back straight or slightly arched. You want to use both hands to control the hand truck or push cart, as seen in this picture here. And if the load is an awkward size or bulky, use tie-down straps if necessary to secure the load. You want to try to avoid stairs and inclines. If you must take the load to another floor, use the freight elevator if there is one available. And then finally, never horse around while you're using hand trucks or push carts because you can cause additional injuries while doing so. And then our final alternative to lifting the load is a fork truck. If an object is too heavy to lift or carry with a hand truck or to load onto a push cart, use a forklift if it is available. But never try to operate a forklift or other piece of lifting equipment unless you've been trained and authorized to do so. All right, so that's going to complete some of the safe lifting techniques and the alternatives to it. Let's move into our final section of this presentation with the do's and don'ts of safe lifting. Some of the do's. Know and test the object weight. You always want to know what you're about to pick up. You want to use ergonomic lift assists when they are possible, and then plan the lift and clear the path. Get help with heavy or awkward objects. You want to keep the object in your power zone. As seen here, this is your power zone. This is optimal. Once you move outside of this area, you enter what's called the danger zone. I have cards that have this demonstration of the areas that are your power zones and your danger zones for each of you after the presentation. And then make sure you use your legs to lift and pivot your feet and avoid twisting. That will complete the do's. Let's review some of the don'ts. Don't hold your breath. Don't bend or twist at the waist. This is a definite no-no. Don't use a partial grip where you take 1 or 2 fingers underneath the load. Use the entire hand to pick up the load. Don't obstruct your vision when you're carrying, and don't jerk or lift the load too quickly. You want to avoid pinching your fingers or toes, and then pull the load. Don't pull the load if you can push it. And don't forget to wear your PPE. So now that we have covered why back safety is so important, proper lifting techniques and how you can apply them at home, the gym, or at work, and the do's and don'ts of safe lifting, are there any questions? Well, hopefully this is an indication that all of you have learned everything that you know to keep your back safe and healthy. So let's get the answer to the question that I asked you at the beginning of the presentation. There it is. You can properly lift 300 pounds off the ground. But remember, your back is your greatest asset, so take care of it.